Hello, math friends. Today we're here and we're going to talk about being able to identify independent and dependent variables. Independent, 8th graders. They want to depend on no one. They want to have no one to depend on. So whenever I talk about independent and dependent variables, we have to talk about some situations. And one of the situations we're going to talk about is going to the movies. And when I think about going to the movies, I always like to invite my cow friend over to talk with us.
Ooh.
He's got quite the moo on him, don't you think? So we're going to take a class trip to the movies, and movie tickets cost $6 each. And we have to figure out what the independent and dependent variables are. What do you think about that, cow friend?
Ooh.
He has lots of mooing today. I think about two different things that happen. I think about money, and I think about people. Because those are the two different things that we have going on in this situation. People
Moolah?
and moolah. Exactly. I knew he would start helping us out here in no time. So we're trying to determine the money and the people, which is independent, which is dependent. And when I think about this situation, I think the number of 8th graders, staff that we take with us to the movies, that's not going to change. That's going to be an independent thing. It does not depend on anyone else. So the people are independent. And then when I think about the money, how much we have to pay to go to the movies, that's going to be dependent on how many people we take with us. Now, independent and dependent is one way to talk about this, but we can also then use some other terms as well. We can use some terms that my cow friend likes to talk about. Let's see what he has to say.
Home, home on the range, where the cows and the antelope range.
So interesting. I heard you bring up the word range. The range. That's an interesting one. And there's another word that goes along with the range. Do you know what it is, Mr. Cowfriend?
No.
It's like a doe. A doe, like...
A deer, a female deer. Ray.
It sounds a lot like that, but it's actually the domain. So these are my two words that kind of fit with my independent and dependent things. If we think about the range,
Makes sense.
so I think it's easier to start thinking about the range because there's going to be a whole range of amounts that we could pay that are going to depend on the number of people. So my range goes in here with the different amounts that I could pay. And that range is going to be dependent on the domain. So getting that vocab down. We have independent and domain go together, and dependent and the range go together. And there's one more place we have to bring this. We have to bring this into a graph. And when we think about a graph, it's important to know that our independent variable is always going to go on our x-axis or our domain, and our dependent is always going to go on our y-axis. So these are all things that we have to depend on when thinking about independent and dependent variables. What do you think, Mr. Cowfriend? Mr. Cowfriend, are you awake over there? You were supposed to say something for me.
Oops. I hope you don't have a beef with me. My mistake.
Awesome. I hope that they're super good at figuring out independent and dependent variables and that you can match it with the domain and the range and put it on a graph. Have an awesome day, friends.